السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم تسليما. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah. I have completed my project paper and now I'm going to present briefly about 10 minutes regarding my project paper for this subject, Sharia rules and issues in Islamic financial transactions. Subject code SH5043. Alright. The title for my project paper, I have selected the topic which is I'm interested in, and also I wish that I can write something about it because this topic is very hot, especially today. Accidentally, a few groups or individuals who tried to say something bad about this instrument, or this financial instrument, which is Tawarruq. Alright, my title is The Use of Tawarruq in the Context of Darurah, Necessity, and Hajah, Need. And praise, or I'm thankful to my lecturers, and I'm thankful to my lecturer for our subject, Professor Dr. Amir Shahrudin, for giving me this opportunity to present my project paper. Alright. This project paper I have divided into a few subtopics according to the rubric. There are 8 subtopics here, starting from introduction, and then problem statement, and then literature review. After that, significance of the research. After that, objective of the research, and then research methodology, result and discussion, and lastly, conclusion and recommendation. And right after that is the reference for my project paper. All right. First of all is abstract. I started my project paper with abstract, which is as mentioned in abstract, that this study will focus on the application of concept of Tawarruq in Darurah as well as Hajah, right? Situation, and how both stages of necessity influence the law as well as its use in the contemporary Islamic financial system. As far as I am concerned, Tawarruq is a main important financial instrument nowadays, especially in Islamic banking and other financial institutions as well. I'm not sure whether Tawarruq is applied in other sectors, but as far as I'm concerned, in Islamic banking, Tawarruq become a very important instrument nowadays, you know. All right, so I mentioned in this abstract about how Hajah and urgent need, necessity, and Darurah plays an important role, you know, for this instrument to be applied in banking, especially in cash financing. I noticed that through my study and my reading that Tawarruq is applied in many financing, such as home financing as well. For example, in CIMB, Islamic, Tawarruq is applied there as well. Same goes to other financial contract like fixed deposit. They are using as well Tawarruq, for fixed profit, because the original investment in Islam, there is no profit guarantee, but in many circumstances we need to guarantee that profit. So the banking institution need to guarantee the profit, so they cannot do that in normal investment such as mudarabah. So they choose Tawarruq as the flexible instrument for that investment. All right. So after the abstract, I followed with introduction, which I mentioned that Tawarruq today is becoming among the most frequently used instrument in Islamic financial product, especially when customers require fast, Sharia-compliant access to cash. As I mentioned earlier, that there are many financial instruments or many financial facilities in banking, and Tawarruq is one of them, and become, for me, after through my reading, very important instrument, especially for, as I mentioned earlier, for cash financing. Even though there are a few financing other than cash financing, like home financing, as I mentioned in CIMB, but the most important financial instrument for cash financing is Tawarruq. So in this introduction, I mentioned that Tawarruq is becoming, Tawarruq has become the most important financial instrument, especially when they want cash. So there is no doubt that this is an important financial instrument, but some issues has been raised about this Tawarruq contract. All right. And I mentioned also in introduction that OAFI, Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institution, has provided guidelines about Tawarruq, how it need to be applied, and also the other than guidelines is the conditions and many other things. And OFI also mentioned that Tawarruq cannot be overused. And I have read also in the National Bank of Malaysia mentioned the same thing, that Tawarruq, no doubt that a very important financial instrument, but if we or other financial expert can find a solution other than that, so it is become better, so that we cannot overuse, the Tawarruq, so that it will not lose its spirit of Sharia. All right. And after introduction, I mentioned also the problem statement, which is according to the opinion of the scholars, briefly, they are divided into two. One group allow Tawarruq, and other group didn't allow. But by looking to the resolution from nowadays financial institution like OFI, like Majma' fi Islam, and maybe other authorities, financial authorities, they don't have problem in terms of Tawarruq contract, briefly, but they just provide the guideline so that we need to follow, especially in the context of Darurah and Hajah. All right. And then, in the context of financing in Malaysia, as mentioned in a few findings and research, for example, done by Muhammad Ikhlas Rosli, 2015, he mentioned that in this research that the element of Hajah may be widely interpreted so as to justify the use of Tawarruq even if not truly urgent. He means that if there is no urgent need, Darurah, we can use Hajah as the reason to exercise the contract of Tawarruq. So, according to literature review, I mentioned few study on Tawarruq, which is very important. For example, what has been written by Wabah Zuhaili in his book about Tawarruq, and he confirmed that Tawarruq is permissible and valid in Islam as long as the condition and the pillars of sale are being done accordingly, and possession of the commodity takes effect in reality, and the contract is performed separately, and so on. So generally, our scholars do not have problem with Tawarruq itself. It's just the issue only how the condition and the pillars, is it has been fulfilled or not, especially the possession. And also the research done by Asma binti Abdurrahman, Samshah Muhammad, and many others I has mentioned in literature review. Few research on this, but generally there is no problem with the contract itself, as long as everything has been fulfilled, like pillars, condition, ownership, possession, and so on. And then I also mentioned about the significance of the research, because nowadays cash is very important. People need cash. So if there is no Tawarruq, how can we get cash from banking? Some people argue that banking is not traders. Bank is not traders. So what they have done, especially in Tawarruq contract, just a trick. And this trick is not allowed, which is, I strongly disagree, as our authorities, local authorities, international authorities like Majma' Fiqh, OFI, which trade, sale and purchase done in Tawarruq by banks are valid as long as the pillars and the conditions is fulfilled, as I mentioned earlier. All right, the objective of research, just to know about the permissibility and also the problem. And then research methodology, I focus on, the methodology that I rely on this research is reading or library research, which is I read the references from books, from journals, from research done by scholars and researchers as well. And then lastly, the result and discussion. As I mentioned here, that the library study suggests that Tawarruq has great potential and as an Islamic financial instrument in Darurah and Hajah situation. So Hajah and Darurah can be two important benchmark for Tawarruq. But it needs to be guided by clear Sharia requirement. Based on Wahbah Az-Zuhaili and other scholars, Tawarruq is valid if ownership on the commodity is valid and the contract of sale is performed separately, so that Tawarruq do not resemble usury, right? So generally, my project paper concluded that Tawarruq can be applied according to the opinions, fatwa, resolution of the scholars individuals and institutions as well, like Majma' Fiqh, OFI, as I mentioned earlier. And as long as the pillars and the conditions of sale are being fulfilled completely. But however, supervision and in Malay we call it kawal selia need to be done all the times from the higher authority like National Bank of Malaysia, PNM, and also other related authorities. So this is my project paper, and as conclusion and recommendation, I concluded that Tawarruq is very important and play a very important role in financial in Islamic finance, especially in the context of Darurah and Hajah. And from Shariah's perspective, Tawarruq is valid if the contract is executed with actual and real possession. Alright, so this is my project paper, and lastly I put references that I refer. So this is my project paper, and I hope that my project paper will get a good result and mark as well from our beloved Prof. So wa akhiran aqulu qala hadza wa astaghfirullahalazim wa lakum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.